All right, Jesse on fire. Let's talk about Islam Makhachev and 155 pounds and who comes next and why and every other thing. We're talking about the Charles fight. I'm just going to empty my brain. And you know why it's something that anybody would care about? You know what I think is because guess who landed on what was going to end up being the factor that ended the fight? Me. And there's a record of this. You guys can hear it right now.
And Islam fight that I'm thinking about right now is like in all those fights where Islam got touched, he got knocked down in most of them.
I meant Charles.
But the thing that's different about the Islam fight versus those other ones is when Charles gets knocked down, there's nobody diving on that. Like there's no one like diving in to try to finish him. Like he's on his back like this. They're all fuck that. No. And so he gets to recover.
Yep. So that's what I said. I said it. I said he always gets knocked down. All the other guys, he's laying on his back like this. They don't dive in. And you know what I was going to finish my point was just that like, well, if Islam knocks him down, he's going to dive on top of that. He's going to fuck him up and probably finish the fight. And that is exactly what happened. Now, that being said, let's be honest. Just the assumption that Islam was going to be able to knock Charles down was a reach. You know, I stumbled onto like one little factor that I'm kind of proud of, but nonetheless, I think there's a lot to talk about here when it comes to Islam Makhachev as a fighter and what the odds are that he's ever going to lose, because I know how everyone tends to like kind of overdo it, and someone wins in dominant fashion against someone that they think is like a really dominant champion, and then it's kind of like, and they're like, oh my God, this guy's the second coming of fill in the blank fighter. Oh my gosh. But I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that with Islam Makhachev, like, we're talking about a different animal here, you know? We're talking about a totally different animal. And here's the deal. Oh, you know what? Really quick, you guys, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, if you haven't, I'm working hard on this channel. I'm flying all over the country doing fight companions with Frank Mir, Shab, flying out to Salt Lake City, coming home for a few days, flying out to Calabasas to do another one next weekend. I'm not doing this for my own health. I'm doing it to grow the channel, and I'm working hard. All I'm asking from you guys is a subscription if you watch my stuff. That's it. I don't think it's an unreasonable request. I do this. You watch my content for free. I like that. I love it, actually. But, you know, if we want to have reciprocal, you know, give and take, you hit subscribe and boom, you can have all my content forever, and I will consider you having, you know, we made a fair trade. Anyway, so Islam Makhachev, I mean, here's the deal, dude. He's obviously won a million fights. He'd won a million fights in a row. And I got the fight wrong. Everybody got the fight wrong. Pretty much, dude. I mean, well, not everybody. Faraz Zahabi got the fight right. Chael got the fight right. All of my jiu-jitsu professors got it right. Victor Hugo, Steve Hargett, they were like, Islam's going to fucking ragdoll him. Steve told me he didn't even watch the fight. He's like, I didn't even watch it. I already knew what was going to happen. It's like, damn. And he was right. But the majority of people that I saw talking about it, obviously including myself, Frank Mir, and Shab, going into the fight, we all thought Charles was going to do it just because, and you know, the breakdown was like, is Islam just going to be like, how is Islam going to get it to the ground and not find himself in danger with Charles? Basically it came down to this. If you boiled every other thing down, like just down to this one thing, it was like, if Islam can't hurt Charles on his feet, then how does he win the fight? And that's just not what Islam Makhachev was known for, hurting guys on the feet. And so it was kind of like, all right, that seems like this big factor that's going to play into whatever. And it wasn't, because Islam's striking was very good. That's the thing. That's the big takeaway. Like, we knew that if a guy is rocked and on his back and Islam ends up on top of him, there's probably not a lot of people who are going to be able to avoid getting, you know, submitted, right? But what we didn't know is what the likelihood was that he'd be able to land something solid enough to hurt a guy. And man, he is, I think that as he continues to fight, we're going to get to see it's going to be like, wow, he is nasty on his feet, dude. And we'll find out in this next fight against Volkanovski, that's for sure. But like, I mean, look, one thing that all the guys who have ever trained with him had in common is they all knew this was coming. And that none of them wavered even a little bit. And it wasn't even like they were, cheerleading him. You could tell the difference. That's the thing, is like there is a history of these really special guys coming up. And if you're a really serious MMA fan, you know what? If you're a really serious MMA fan, one thing that I was really happy about on the Calabasas Fight Companion is I get to sit there and just talk about mixed martial arts and UFC for almost 4 hours, not having to concern myself about, is this a good topic for people to click on or whatever. And so anybody who's ever had any questions about, how serious is Jesse as an MMA fan, that shit got answered real quick if you watch that Fight Companion, because dude, you put me in a room with two guys that fucking know MMA, as well as those two guys. I mean, we're talking about fights that happened 15 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Then this, But like anybody who's come up like me, like a lot of you guys, I'm sure, know that there are these very rare guys where the people in the community that train with them are like, you guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. And most of the time, it ends up panning out pretty well. You have these handful of guys that haven't really panned out exactly right, like Aaron Pico, even though he's so young that he could still make it, but he's had some injuries and setbacks. But like Cain Velasquez, do you guys remember? Okay, were you guys fans on the level that I am when Cain was first coming out? Do you remember? Because it was just like Islam, except that he hadn't fought as many times as Islam. Even in the UFC, they were like, dude, this guy's going to be the best heavyweight in the world. He's probably already the best heavyweight in the world. And he was like just about to get his first fight in the UFC. And they were like, you guys don't get it, dude. You do not get it. Khabib too, dude. Like think about the commentary going into the Conor fight with the guys who trained with him every day. They're like, you guys don't get it. Conor has no chance in this fight. None. And you're like, there's no fight that Conor has no chance in. And how'd it go? And Islam, as much as any other guy, has had that narrative around him from people who have trained with him. They're like, dude, Javier Mendez thinks that he's the best lightweight to ever do it. You know what? I haven't heard him say that. Someone told me that he said that, and I believe that he said it. So it's like, where's his weakness? You know what I mean? Where is his weakness? Because Charles, he was dominant and he had beat these guys. And so we're like, dude, Charles is the man. But we all knew what his weakness was. He gets punched. Whether it was his eyesight or him standing straight up, not moving his head, whatever. He got hit in every single fight. Knocked down in every single fight. So he's very resilient. And he's excellent on, his jiu-jitsu is amazing and he is a good striker. But bottom line is he was getting touched. What's Islam's weakness? When he fights against strikers, we already know what happens. He just takes them down and he Kimuras them or punches them until they just quit. Against Charles leaves openings. He knocks him down and he, puts an arm triangle on him. What? Yeah. So I don't know, dude. Think about the matchups. How do you think Gaethje does against Islam? If he throws kicks, Islam's going to take him down. Then we know how that ends. How do you think he's going to do against Dustin? How did Khabib do against Dustin? How do you think he's going to do against, Dariush? Some more kind of interesting fight, but do you really think that Dariush is going to beat Islam Makhachev? Nope. Chandler, how's he going to do against... Now, here's the thing about Chandler. Chandler could knock him out. Chandler could knock him out with one shot if he catches him. So that's an interesting fight. And Chandler is an exceptional wrestler. That's a very interesting fight. I would be very, very interested to see Chandler fight Islam. But outside of Chandler, he matches up tremendously well against everyone. So, but Volkanovski is a total question mark, dude. Like, who is Volkanovski fought who has a wrestling pedigree like Islam's? No one. And also, but at the same time, that's what we said about Islam. Oh, who is Islam fought that has a blah, blah pedigree like Charles Oliveira? How'd that go? Not very well. It's actually kind of crazy that they're doing Volkanovski and Islam right out of the gate. You know? It's like, because like one of them has to lose. Do you really, I mean, and the thing is like, do you really want Volkanovski to be a 2-belt holding champion? I mean, he's obviously that good, but like, I don't know, like historically he hasn't been like super marketable. I have all the respect in the world for Volkanovski. I love watching him fight. But just in terms of like I'm just talking from the organization standpoint. Do they really want Volkanovski to have both belts? Just given the star power at 55, that's surprising to me. You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't really know where I'm going with this other than to say congratulations, Islam Makhachev. I mean, listen, dude, that was a big, big deal. Obviously, he was, he won decisively, but I mean, I can't imagine there have been many fights where it was more important to the person fighting. And I'm talking including every single title shot that anyone's ever got. Just given the stakes, given all the stuff with Khabib's dad and then Khabib and all that stuff. It's like, dude, everything was on the line and he showed out like a boss. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to everybody. Listen, dude, you want to know who the biggest winner of the night was? Is Khabib and Ali Abdelaziz, man. All their guys just ran through everyone, the coach and the manager, dude. They had a solid night, dude. Big night. All their guys won and won in impressive fashion. Belal Muhammad, god damn. I need to do a separate video on him, dude. Jesus, man. He's a fucking monster, dude.